We're on. We are now on. I've switched us to on.
I'm delighted.
You were waiting for it, and then you showed no emotion when it happened. And so I don't know if I believe your previous statement of, yeah, you were excited.
That you are talking about this now while we are live on air.
Wow, how could you?
We're on.
I can't believe you said we were going to be on, and now we are on, and now you are starting drama like this. I just don't know what to do.
We should just turn off. Hold on.
I think we should just
Goodbye.
end the stream.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I ended. It's
good.
We're back to the splash screen.
Welcome to our shortest run of MangaPod here on twitch.tv/DexBonus. Welcome.
We're trying to break into the speedrunning community.
Yeah, please join us in our endeavors.
Also, maybe submit us for best short film drama category.
Yes,
thank
please.
you.
We have a diverse cast.
Yeah, one of us is virtual. It's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi.
Good.
Everybody. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome. I'm Erin.
I'm Dodger.
I'm Lou.
I'm Moeka.
And we are MangaPod. We're a weekly podcast in which we all get together after we read all or a part of a manga, and then we discuss it with friendship, love, and lots of spoilers. This week we are talking I Don't Know Flag or Blue Flag chapters 1 through 33, volumes 1 through 4. What?
Nothing.
Oh,
I thought, going, yeah.
Oh,
but
I thought you were doing a like Erin.
When you. Oh no! Like when you're in front of a dog and you're like, put your nose in here. But I was doing it to myself.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to MangaPod, everybody.
I get it. There's just been a lot of times where you've done that, and it's because something happened with the splash screen, and so
and I'm like,
looked over.
I'm trying to be like, wait,
Erin.
I got you. I got you. I need to really work on my hand signals.
Yeah, if you could do that by next MangaPod.
Okay, got it.
Then we'll really be nominated for short film. We'll have character development.
Oh my god.
Our writing will be subpar, but great.
I mean, it's perfect for a film festival. Hey! Okay,
hey!
Summary.
If you never joined us for MangaPod before, what we like to do is give you a short spoiler-free description of the manga that we read, aka a summary, and then we'll give you our spoiler-free recommendations, whether we think you should spend time going to read this manga or not. That way, if it sounds like something you are interested in, you can take your leave once we get to spoiler section, and then come back and watch the VOD of this on youtube.com/happilyerin, or you can listen to it on Spotify or iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. So this week, Lou is going to be reading our description for us. Oh, shit.
Oh!
So I'm going to go ahead and read the description while Erin takes care of that. High school senior... hold on. High school senior year, spring. One of this is written so weird. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna try it again. High school senior year, spring. One of life's important forks in the road. Taichi Ichinose finds himself in the same class as Futaba Kuze, who he feels strangely averse to, and his popular childhood friend Toma Mita. One day, Futaba confides in him her love for Toma and asks him for help. How will Taichi respond? This new pure love story begins as the three are colored in the emotions of youth.
I remember that's how the summary ends. It doesn't mean anything, but it's pretty.
Yes.
It's nice.
It is nice.
Sweet. Thank you, Lou. Let's do spoiler-free recommendations. Would anybody like to go first?
This manga's great. It's so good. I love everybody in it. and there is drama in it, but like
Yes.
it's like written in a way where oh gosh, I don't even know how to say it really. You're just really rooting for everybody to like grow and get closer and learn from each other, and I think that it's just very well done, and I wound up adoring it, which I was not expecting because this is normally not my vibe. So I definitely recommend it.
I guess I'll go. I also
chill if I'm on my own.
We were just, giving people a moment to like appreciate your take. So,
right.
Yeah.
So
My hot take.
It's pretty good. I also enjoyed this manga. Normally I'm not like super into teen romance. I feel like I've grown away from that a bit. But this handled it pretty well. I enjoyed all the characters and their interactions, and it kind of didn't play too heavily into the real annoying tropes in the genre, which I appreciated. So yeah, this one gets a recommend from me.
Oh shoot.
Uh-oh.
Just
What are you
don't look at this.
doing?
Don't look at the stream. It's
I
fine.
watched it happen. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
All I wanted was to turn Lou down just a tiny little bit, and then I just kept clicking. And anyway, Lou, good. Thank you. Sorry.
It's okay. Did they hear what I said? I don't know.
No, they did. They did.
Okay, cool. I was so confused.
I'm sorry. Welcome back to MangaPod, Lou.
Hey.
Moeka or Erin feels.
So I went in thinking, I don't think I'm gonna like it, cause it's gonna be drama and then all the teen angst, and I don't know, I'm not feeling it. But then I liked it so much, you guys, that instead of stopping at chapter 33, I just stayed up till like 5 a.m. and I read the entire thing. I fell in love with one specific character, and oh man, it's such a good series. I think it handles the characters really well, and so they feel like real people, not just like made up characters, which was like a really nice surprise. So I definitely big recommend from me.
I agree. I love this manga so much that I read it. I read part of it last year, and had caught up to what was all the way out. And I love the twist that it takes on a lot of tropes we see in most slice of life romance manga. And the writing is really refreshing. The drama, like you guys said, it's not stupid. Like, it's very nice to read. It's a very fast-paced manga. The characters feel real, genuine. The relationships, development, everything. It's just so very planned out and very well done. And it tackles a lot of hard issues in a way that's very non-judgmental, which is also hard to get in a story for this like age group and this genre.
Yes.
Yeah, so I highly recommend it. Even if you think that you're not into slice of life or high school romance, this is one that you should definitely go and check out. It's very nice and very enjoyable. And heartstrings. It'll pull at your heartstrings too. So
Yeah, I have not fully cried yet reading this, but I got a little weepy right around the time that my daughter ran over and said, "Mommy, I pooped." And I will forever remember that moment of just being like, they're all talking about their feelings. I'm so happy. I'm so proud of you, honey. And your potty? Wow. Can I see? It was a very strange moment of my day.
oh my God, I love it. Cool. So let's go ahead and jump into spoiler section, unless you guys have anything else you would like to touch on.
No, let's do it.
Awesome. Okay.
5. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Toma's God.
Who's the older brother?
Seiya.
He's God for me. Dude, that guy is fucking chaotic. He just shows up and does the dumbest fucking faces and is like, you do this, you do this, eat my ramen, bye. Just like, I love it.
You will do it.
One of the characters described him as like, I think it's the main guy, it was like, he just never grew up. Like, he's a fucking lawyer, but he still acts like a goddamn kid. I was like, that's so well put. Yeah.
He's like, his text messages to Taichi, or it's just like the like horrifying stickers.
Oh my god.
So good.
Yeah. A reminder to everybody, do not talk about or spoil anything past volume 4 or chapter 33. We're in the middle of a lot of things at that point, and we don't want to know. So just keep it to yourselves. And if you're not sure if we've already read something, don't say it.
Yes, we stopped. If you guys need chat, need a refresher. We stopped right at the mommy chapter.
Yes,
which is a very good, I think, descriptive for people to be like, oh, okay, I know where you stopped. So that's right where it ended our reading. So cool. Let's start with the question we usually start with, which is, what were you guys expecting going into it? And you guys kind of touched on it already in spoiler-free section, but is there anything you would like to bring up now that's a little bit more spoilery?
I can talk about it. Because I think, we were all, well, at least Lou and I were saying that we were expecting it to be more obnoxious than it was, like teen romance, teen drama, obnoxious, right? There was a point early on in the reading where I was like, oh my gosh, because he had said, right, like, I don't have a girlfriend and I don't have a best friend. And so when he started to talk with Kuze, I was like, oh, it would be so great if like one of the sort of flips in this manga, if this manga plans on doing anything differently from the normal tropes, but if it does, it would be really cool if the flip was that Kuze wound up being the best friend, right? And the manga makes you think like, oh, of course he's gonna date her, but she winds up being the best friend. And I actually really love and was not expecting this manga to take such a like strong extended look at male-female friendships and relationships and like how people always have like weird stances on whether or not you can be friends with other people and all of that sort of stuff. I loved that that we got like a whole section of that conversation being Kuze being like, just because I'm interested in somebody romantically and I'm also interested in somebody friend-wise, does that mean that I care about them any less than the other? Right? Like, which is another conversation that even in America, like people are like, what do you mean? Of course you care more about like your boyfriend than your friend, which like, do you? Right? Like, so it was, I really love the focus on friendship in this, and I didn't expect that to be such a strong focus of it.
Yeah, I was expecting like violent love triangles, and it just to be like trashy romance, and it was not that at all. So yeah, like kind of building off of the same expectations that Dodger brought up of and I expected this to be very heavy, leaning into tropes, kind of like the whole art style and everything about it gave me that indication, and I'm glad that it really subverted that. Honestly, though, like for the first 3 or 4 chapters, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be what what was it? Ore Monogatari ended up doing.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking, all right, this is gonna be, maybe it's something like that, or maybe it's the whole like, oh yeah, no, a friend helping a girl get together with their best friend. You know, that's just the super generic story. And I'm glad that it took a few different turns and it ended up where it is. And I'm curious where it's going to go going forward, because I don't know, things seem pretty established now, but there's a lot that's unresolved.
Mm-hmm.
Moeka?
How about you, Moeka?
I'm blanking. Oh my god, there's this.
The mouth just opened ever so slightly when you cut it.
I don't. You guys nailed it. I hate it when you do that.
That's why I went second. That's why I went second, because I knew I wouldn't come up with anything else if I waited.
Oh my god.
It's not a competition, Moeka. You could be like,
No,
I don't got anything.
No, she's got to make a better point than everyone else. We're one-upping each
other. You're gonna make me cry.
No. Do you want me to go? I can go.
Okay, you go.
Okay. When I first read this, I think it was like 2 years ago. I was expecting the same thing going into it. All right, we've got love triangle. It's like, what's the word for 3 people in love? It's like, we're gonna have the love triangle.
Right.
We're gonna have so much angst. Like, he's gonna fall in love with her while she's in love with him. La-di-da-di-da. And I did not expect the twist with the love triangle where it was Toma's in love with Taichi. And then to build off of that, how the relationships actually progressed and they communicated with each other, and that it touched on the idea of when you are their age, like going through those changes in puberty and learning, like in high school, like what is love, because you don't know. All you know is like what you've read in books or seen in shows and stuff like that. And so trying to figure out the difference between like platonic and romantic, and is this how I should feel, and the idea of when you're falling in love with somebody of the same sex and same gender, it's like, do I feel that, or are they my friends? So it's the same idea across all the relationships. And I didn't expect it to delve so deep into those, like you guys said, and to do it in such a non-judgmental way. And so just reading that, I'm like, I don't think I've read something that tackles those issues as definitive and like bringing up a lot of different points that I would never have thought of. Like thinking back, I get them now, but reading it, I was like, shit, I never thought about this in that way. Like the whole thing with mom, when we'll get into it, but like there's just so much I never thought of. And then reading it now, I'm like, geez, that is such a thing, especially in high school where you're trying to navigate that. And so I was just really blown away by the writing and the points that it brought up. It's really
Moeka.
Okay, so this manga was like going into it. Okay, so I will say that going into this, it starts off like, oh, they're in a love triangle. Oh, okay. And then it was like just me. I've like 2 chapters in, I was just like, man, wouldn't it be amazing if the guy was in love with his guy friend? Like, oh man, I really want that. And I was so like, I was not expecting them to actually do that, because this was like in Shonen Jump. This is a Shonen Jump series. Yeah. So I did not expect them to go that direction. So I was very happily surprised with that. So
Can I read what Moeka sent us in MangaPod chat?
Oh my god, yeah.
In all caps. I woke up to this in all caps from Moeka. This manga we are reading, I am crying. I didn't expect them to go there. LMAO. I can't wait to talk about it.
So good.
Yeah, I don't know. It was so refreshing. to see like all these little different directions that shonen manga typically don't really touch. So I think that was my biggest like takeaway going into this series. Because I just go like first glance, I didn't think that it was gonna. I was like, oh, it's gonna be a shonen series. It's gonna be like stereotypical, like he's Taichi's gonna like learn like, oh, I want to be the big sports boy, and then they're gonna get into some sports team together and the love triangle, and that is not at all what I got. So I'm really happy with how things turned out.
Yeah. At what point? So for me, it was when Taichi was describing Toma's perfect woman. And I was like, I don't think any of this is true. I don't think any of this is true. I think he was talking about you and lying about all of it. And I don't remember why I thought that, but that was the moment where I was like, I'm probably totally wrong, but this would be incredible if it turned out.
No, and they give us the whole bait and switch where we see Aki.
Yeah.
And Aki matches those descriptions.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was around the same time where I was just like, man, I wonder. I'm just Fujo baiting here. And no, oh my god, I'm so happy with how things turned out. Smile.
Yeah. But along with that, like, you know, we have all of those really sad conversations where we understand things that other people don't. Like him explaining, like, I just want to be able to live freely. And to somebody who doesn't know, that comes across as just like you're lazy and you don't want to do any work to like pursue something. But for us, like knowing that he has known this about himself for so long and hasn't told anybody, or at least maybe he hasn't told anybody, I don't know yet at the point that I'm at in the manga, but that like living freely for him is different from how people are perceiving it.
Yeah, I think I realized that when Itachi was like, the only part of that is the black hair. And I just went, wait, what? Wait, hold on. Because they do, like Lou said, the whole bait and switch of you see Aki and it's like, oh man, that's going to be a weird drama. It's going to be so bizarre because he's in love with his
sister-in-law. Don't.
He's like, oh no. And then to have that be really the first time we see Toma break into this like not cool dude where he's suddenly just like, no, you cannot say anything. He just like has a moment of pure panic. I'm like, that is so like something that somebody who is dealing with their sexuality and being in love with somebody and not knowing if that's okay is such a like feeling. It's so raw and so true of like, no, I can't let somebody figure this out, especially when it's with his best friend, because it's such an important like relationship for him to keep. And so I really liked that fact that was the Toma that suddenly came out, and that we see that there is more than just this like goofy happy dude going on there.
Mirio, but inside of a love triangle.
Yes, exactly. What did you guys think about that reveal coming so early?
I was glad. I feel like the pacing wise, we've gotten information right when we needed it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Otherwise, I feel like it would have been like, because everyone by the end of this was like, "What are you hiding?" So I feel like if it had been like hidden for much longer, it would have just been really annoying. Where everyone would be like, "Okay, what are you hiding? What are you hiding? What are you hiding?"
Right.
Yeah.
Or I think like the whole vibe of the manga really changed after that reveal, and it kind of helped facilitate the whole ending of main boy trying to get Kuze and Toma together. Like really, like that was the turning point for what the story was, because at that point we'd already seen that that there was no like concrete interest between Toma and Kuze, and it's, you know,
right, that like there was a certain amount of like spinning their wheels that was going on.
Yeah, and they got over that fairly quickly.
Yeah, and we also, it also created a situation where we could see that from Toma's point of view, like his interest in Taichi was not something he would ever pursue. It was like, I want him to be happy. I know this about myself and I've accepted it, but like, you know, I can tell that he and Kuze would be a good match. So I'm going to like be a good friend, and I'm going to try to like create situations for that relationship to grow. While at the same time, main boy is over here like, I'm so jealous. He's so good at everything. Everybody loves him. It's fine. I really like this girl, but I'll create a situation where she can fall in love with him like everybody else does. And I'm like, oh my God. You lack critical information. This is so rough.
What did you guys think of Taichi as a protagonist? Like meeting him the first time, and then as we get to know more and more about his character, what were you guys' feelings about him?
I kind of, this is like the closest thing to have with a gripe with this manga, is that it feels like the story is more happening around him, and he's just kind of like, the story is pushing his development as opposed to his personal growth driving the story, which is like not necessarily a knock on the manga. It's just not my preference. I prefer when characters have internal growth, and that affects how they interact with the world around them.
I agree. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Like, his being involved in this situation at all was reliant on Kuze approaching him. Like, everyone's interest in him is the story, right? Yeah. Like, even Mami, like, we didn't find out what was going on with her really at all until the point where she was like interested in cultivating a relationship with Daichi, right? So he winds up being like the lightning rod for information and for us to like learn more about everybody else. With Taichi, I think we have to address it at some point, because he makes such a point of being like, I realized that I hated Kuze because Kuze reminded me of myself, right? Like, we're both the sort of person to like mess everything up and give up, and like we're too passive and all of these other things. And we've seen Kuze grow a ton. So when's Taichi's turn, I guess?
Moeka?
I personally don't mind how he is, because to me it's like, I don't know, it's so weird, because in high school everyone has like their moments of growth. So in a manga it makes more sense that it's not like, oh, everyone all of a sudden is getting that specific growth that you'd want. So I'm really, later on it'll be interesting to see like how he grows, or if he stays the same and is just like a passive person. But I don't know, he's like such a weird like protagonist, because he's so passive, but at the same time like he's like, in his own way he is kind-hearted, and so for me that's like endearing. And so I don't know, it's so weird. Typically I feel like I would not enjoy him as a protagonist. As a side character I'd be okay with it, but in a weird way he felt really relatable to me. And so I don't know what that says about my high school years, but
No, I agree with you, Moeka. I was feeling the same thing in that I really enjoyed that he was like, I agree with Dodger and Lou too, that it definitely feels like the other characters are there because of him, but he's not necessarily the like most interesting. But I enjoyed that he wasn't like bullied. He wasn't an outcast. Like, he had friends. He knew how to communicate, but he was just that person that he was, which is a little bit more boring. You're just not as like, hey, I'm great at everything and things like that. And so I think it might have hurt him a little in that he didn't have as big of like an external struggle at the beginning. But I really liked watching him and the relationships relating to him. I really enjoyed that he was the character that he is and getting to see that kind of character in the relationships and what's happening around him. So, sorry, there was a light knock at the door. I was very confused for a second.
Gotcha.
So, I really liked him. I liked him a lot. Like, I adored him. Kind of. I think I adored him. Like, he's not like the best character, and like you said, development's not happening really. But I just still loved him. Maybe it's all his goofiness, his silliness.
Like, yeah, I don't think that there's necessarily anything wrong with him. I do think that we're getting the building blocks for him to potentially have like growth, right?
Yeah.
He's with Kuze now. And like the whole thing with all of them kind of obsessing over their future career, right? Like, what are you going to do after high school, right? That's like a huge topic that comes up over and over and over again in this, because it's meant to like highlight who you know is forward thinking and who isn't really. And this whole thing with like, oh, you used to say that you wanted to make toys and all of that. I keep waiting for, and obviously we have a whole other half of this manga to go, but I keep waiting for that to have some kind of like I don't know. I don't want to say benefit, but I want it to have been brought up for like a reason. Payoff. Yeah.
I liked one of my favorite parts of the manga, and this is like the one that got me real teary-eyed, that first one I can remember, is the part where Toma gets hit by the car and breaks his leg.
Oh my God.
Which is another thing that it's like, oh my God, it's drama for the sake of drama. Like, how angsty is this gonna be? And it was angsty, but it was like a good kind of angst. It was played out very well, and to see Taichi as affected as he was, because it was one of those things that he had been building up to, and like seeing Kuze, he's like, I want to be able to do something. Like, I want to be able to make a decision and go and help people. So we see him save the cat, and then it's like the turnaround of, oh, but Toma protected him and is now not able to compete in his final baseball career in high school. And you're like, shit. So then you have that complication, Taichi, where he's like, I finally tried to do something, and this is what happened. And Toma's amazing. And it also set a development for their relationship to move on further.
Yes, that's very true.
But yeah, that part, I was like,
holding.
Ugh. Oh, the hand holding.
Yeah, just like like, I think once Taichi realized, like, Toma must have been terrified of me dying to that car, the way that his parents died in a car, right? And that was the first time that we met Seiya, and Seiya being like, honestly, I want to beat the shit out of both of you, because neither of you were thinking clearly in that moment, right? And it's like, it's not that him wanting to save the cat was wrong, and it's definitely not that Toma wanting to save Taichi was wrong. It's just like, it was a really unfortunate situation where nobody had any self-preservation whatsoever. And I,
Mhm.
you know, it's like difficult, right? Like that's a really difficult question to have with yourself of like, do I put myself out there to do something good if it means that it's going to hurt a lot of other people? Yeah, that was like a really well done section, I think.
Yeah, it was like pretty hard hitting too, because I mean he had like an incident with a kitten, and that's what made him be like, hey, if like I'm put in a situation of like do or don't do, I'm gonna try to do whatever it is so that I don't have to put myself in the situation again. And even his
Yeah.
mom like touches on it and is like, I'm so glad that you're a kind-hearted person, and that you have empathy as young as you are, but at the same time I'm so glad that you didn't try saving this kitten, because you could have died.
Yeah.
And so it's just, oh, baby.
Yeah. It's sad.
What do you guys think of Kuze? Let's talk about her.
I love her.
Oh my god, when they did the hamster comparison, I fucking lost it. I was like, this is my baby now. Don't fuck with her. I will murder you.
I mean, she's a chinchilla now.
She's a chinchilla now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She grew.
But not a capybara. Capybara would be too far.
Yeah, no. Too much. Not yet. She's not ready for that stage.
There were so many moments. I don't feel like I am the same personality type as her at all, but like there were so many moments in learning about her where I was like, I connect with this so hard. The whole thing with her realizing like I'm actually not interested in this person. I admire them a lot. I was like, oh my God, I've been there, right? And this whole thing of like, I don't feel particularly feminine. I feel like everything, like sometimes I really do wish that I was born as a man. Totally get that. I had that thought so many times when I was in high school.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And like, yeah, there were so many moments with her where I was like, oh my God. And her being like, yeah, and I'm trying to like get stronger. Like, I wish that I was stronger, I've realized. You know, I wish that I was more athletic, and I wish that I was buff. I was like,
muscles. I was like,
yes!
yes!
I love you. Like, I get it. I get it.
Yes. I love, oh, sorry.
No. Oh, go for it.
I
love her. That's all.
love the fact that she is the one who confessed to Taichi first. I really liked that because when we first see her, she's the like stuttering and she's so shy. She doesn't know how to move forward, but she knows she wants to change herself. And so we get to see her grow more and more confident while still retaining that like anxiety. Like, okay, I still am not like 100% there, but I'm trying really hard. And then to have her realize and understand, connect with herself so much, and she's been learning that through Taichi and Toma and Itachi, to have her be the first one to say, I like you, can we start dating, to Taichi, I thought was such a big step. And you don't see that as often in manga. I feel like we usually see the guy struggle and the guy ready to ask her out, especially in a shonen. And so I loved getting to see that. I was like, ah!
Yeah, I loved that too. Especially, yeah, because we are mostly following him and we know that he has been interested for a while. So it was cool to have her, like, to have the manga reflect that she has been doing a lot of self-reflection, right? Has been, like, trying to understand her own feelings and where she's coming from. And yeah, I liked that a lot.
I loved her.
Yeah, I love her a lot. What about what's her name? Her best friend,
Itachi,
who's in love with her. Oh my God, she is just like she's that character that like you understand where she's coming from, she consistently like does things that are to like protect other people. And as a person who loves to like give everyone the benefit of the doubt, like the way that she interacts with people like stresses me out sometimes.
I know.
I'm like, oh no.
I wish we would have more Itachi. She was great.
Honestly, me too. I think she's a very good foil to like the vibe with the rest of the characters. She's just very much a realist. And I like that she's really upfront. Like, honestly, I don't think that I have time to care about every little person that's like in my life. I have the people that are important, and I'm going to spend all my energy on them, and that's it. Which is like the polar opposite of Taichi.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I want everybody to like me, and I also care about everybody else so much.
And the differences between her feelings and Toma's feelings and how they're handling that. And then the fact that oh my gosh, the fireworks scene, talking about an amazing scene in this manga.
Good.
Something this mangaka is amazing at is having 2 or 3 different scenes happening at the same time and interweaving them so smoothly, so well, and so good at affecting the reader. And that, I think, is the perfection of what this mangaka is capable of doing, is that fireworks scene where we get Kuze talking and confessing to Taichi, while at the same time Itachi is slowly breaking down and being like, I want this so bad and I can't have it, and I know that. And seeing that even though she has accepted it, she's not a real, like, she's still a high school student who is understanding that the girl she's in love with, like, she's not gonna ever be able to have that love requited. And is that the right word?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Requited.
So to see her be affected like that, I think was even more effective too. Just that scene was amazing. I loved her in that scene.
That was, I think, the only moment in this manga so far where I've been like, you are being purposefully dense, was the conversation between Itachi and Taichi, where she was like, do you think that it's okay for a man and a woman to be friends? Okay, do you think that it's okay for 2 people of the same gender to be in love? And like all of this stuff. And then they walk outside and he's like, I didn't really understand where you were going with all of that. What were you trying to say? What exactly were you touching on? What was happening there in that conversation? And I was like, it's pretty fucking clear, bud. She's asking how you feel about same-sex relationships, Taichi. And then she was like, don't worry, it was all hypothetical. And I was like, this is infuriating. It's like the only moment in this reading where I was like, really?
I mean, that's adding the sense of realism. It's a high school boy.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? I don't get it.
It's like, what?
Killing me.
What was the scene that made you teary-eyed? I want to know. I've been thinking about it since you first brought it up.
I'm trying to remember.
Oh man, I had too many.
I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah, I had a lot. I'll give you time. Man, the part where mommy, they're like all sitting down together. It's after mommy had her encounter with her friend who's like, I only see you as a woman and I only see you as like a sexual partner potential. Yeah. Like her talking to Kuze about how like how she felt about being a woman, and then Kuze being like, oh, you wanted to be a man too. Her talking about how she like she's never wanted to be a man and that she's happy with how she was. That was like so hard hitting for me, because I think when I was younger I was a little bit like Kuze, where I would like be like, oh man, if I was a guy, like I'd want to be like this, blah 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 blah. And then as I grew older, I think around middle school, I kind of had that shift in perspective, like mommy, where it was like yeah, being a woman is like hard for like these aspects, but I'm just like, I don't know. I'm happy to be who I am, and I'm gonna like try and love myself for who I am right now, and try to be the person that I'm like, that I keep being like, oh, I want to be a guy so that I can be this type of like person. And then just having that shift in perspective of, sure, like being a woman, I'm going to be seen like differently because of these reasons, and I'm gonna like deal with these hardships for this reason, whatever. But I can still be that person who I'm like imagining, that like that's has nothing to do with gender. So I think like getting to see that represented in a manga, like it was, I don't know, it's so bizarre to me because a lot of Shonen Jump stuff doesn't touch on that ever, I feel. So for me, like I bawled my eyes out at that part.
Oh.
Oh.
I really liked her whole section. I liked that was like the best bait and switch for me in this manga so far, is me being like, oh, this bitch, she's like, what is she up to, right? Like it's written purposefully for you to think like she's up to something, she's being a sneaky bitch, right? And she does admit like, yes, I did want to get close to Taichi so that I could figure out like how to get closer with Toma, but it's not because I think that there's a future with Toma anymore. It's because like I can't seem to ever keep a guy friend. They always like, somebody in the situation always thinks that I want something else, and like literally all that I want is friends. And it's so well done because you look back and you're like, she hasn't ever done anything. She hasn't ever done anything other than like be around, right? That's all that she's ever done. But the way that the other characters perceive her, and the way that it's like written, you wind up being like, ooh, this sneaky bitch. And then you're like, she hasn't done anything. She hasn't done anything. Literally the entire manga, all that she's ever done is like get frustrated because Toma didn't want to be around her, which is understandable, and like, and try to make new friends, right? And everybody's like, what's she up to? Nothing. She's not up to anything, right? Like, yeah, I thought that was so well done to have it, you know, we've all been in high school, especially like coming at it from the perspective of, well, what does everybody else say about her? That's what we get, right? As the reader, what does everybody else say about her? And so to have like such a good buildup of that, and then wind up with her perspective, I was honestly so relieved, because I was like, I really so badly want it to be that like she actually wants to be friends with Taichi. I want that to be the reveal. And for like the even further reveal to be she is like still is attracted to Toma, but has accepted that like maybe all she can have is friends, but it feels like even that is out of her reach because everybody thinks that she's being sinister about it. I just really liked all of that.
When
crying. Her talk, that was another part where I bawled my eyes out, because I've had a lot of situations even now where sometimes it just feels like girls and guys can't be friends. Always, because they even touch on it about how like sometimes girls just are like not conditioned, but I don't know like a better way of putting it, but there's certain girls where it's like they feel they can't build up other girls, and it's like, why are you talking to my boyfriend? Like, are you trying to steal him from me, sort of situation. And that was really hard hitting for me, because I feel like I experienced that a lot with like non-married guy friends. And so instead of like being like mommy and being like whatever, like I'm still gonna like pursue this friendship even
That's
if
your
I'm
problem, not my problem. Yeah.
yeah. And I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten better of like just accepting that and being like, okay, this is not a me problem. This is like something that they have to work out with about.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that was really hard hitting. And it was just like,
Yeah.
it's like she talked about, it's so painful losing a friend over a situation where you literally did nothing and you can't do anything because
Yeah.
it's like your friend is pursuing like their happiness and it's like trying to be like, hey, I'm your friend, like this is fucked up, stop pursuing your happiness, like that sucks to like
Yeah.
force them into that sort of thing. And
the
so
whole...
for me,
Sorry.
oh no, go.
Sorry. No. Finish what you were saying. I'm bad about that.
It was just like, oh man. It just made me think about like the last time that I had that situation happen. And I'm glad that there's a shift in perspectives for like guys and girls where it is becoming more normal to be like, hey, this person is like, this girl is being my friend even though I'm a guy, and they're not like wanting a relationship and vice versa. Because like last year I had this situation where I'm really good friends with a guy friend, and they're a content creator, whatever. They started dating this girl that's not in like the content creating space, and so for her, she's really insecure whenever any other girl talked to him, because in her eyes it's like, I'm a fucking nobody. And so I'm just so happy that she was willing to like talk things out essentially. And so this manga made me really appreciate that she was so willing to talk about it, because the way I found out that there was like a quote unquote issue was I had replied to my friend's Twitter post, and then he had talked about, oh, this is my girlfriend, like I think you guys would hit it off, here's her Twitter. And it was like the worst fucking feeling clicking on it and being blocked.
Yeah.
Blocked me, and I had never talked to her or known her, and that's not the first situation. Like that's not the first time I've had that happen. But I'm just not. When I was younger, I was not confrontational about it, because it sucks to force your friends to be like, hey, your significant other has blocked me. I have no idea. Like. At this point, it was like a personal growth to even confront him about it. But I really like, he's always been open with me. So it was a weird situation. And so I was just like, hey, like, what's going on? Did I do something to hurt her? Like, I don't know what's happening. She has me blocked. And so even he was surprised by it. And so I'm just glad that that she was willing to talk about it. And she was just like, hey, my like, this person, like the boyfriend in this situation, has talked to me, and you know what, it was fucked up. I am insecure, and I'm so sorry that I like have made you feel this way. I'm growing as a person, and I hope that you can forgive me and that we can become friends. And so this manga has made me appreciate that interaction.
Yeah. It was
for sure.
when I was picking, because since I had read it already, I was like trying to decide where we should stop, and I was like, I gotta get them to read the mommy chapter. I was like, I can't
Yes.
stop like right after the confession. I was like, they need to read this. And I think I was even telling David after that chapter, I was like, she is such an original character, and what she's describing, the fact that she's going into, why is it my fault that I really want to be friends with guys, yet they either fall in love with me and then it's my fault for breaking their hearts, or it's my fault that their girlfriends get upset because they're friends with me. Like, how is this anything my fault? And then that leads into the idea of she's gonna have all that angst.
All that yikes.
And the chapter where she because her whole specific chapter starts out with her in like the shower, and that's always a like motif for being depressed and being like having a lot of emotions. And so the lead into that, where she finally goes, maybe it's better if I just didn't exist anymore, and it cuts into her being like, no, fuck that. Like, she's straight up like, fuck that. And then it goes into her doing her hair and painting her lips and realizing, like, if they can't deal with it, that's their fucking problem. Like, she still ended up being here over here like, I want these friends. This is what I want to do. And all these other people, it's their issue that they're having trouble feeling this. And then having Kensuke being like, I broke up with my girlfriend for you. And she's like, I've already rejected you so many times. Yeah. And how horrible of a person do you have to be to come in and say, you broke up with me, and putting her down and then putting me down at the same time? Like, why is that something you think is okay to do? And it's the aspect of like the friend zone, that whole thing, which I didn't expect this manga to tackle and to do it in like such a great way also, from her point of view. I was like, shit, it's so good.
It also, you know, in like a light way, tackled this like she'll come around bullshit where like he just keeps being like, but I love you. I'll break up with people for you. Don't you see how much I love you? Are you really not interested in me? Then why do you hang out with me? Like, I thought that eventually this could happen. And like the amount of frustration that she feels being like, I keep trying to make this friendship work because I do like being around you, but obviously it's like not going to happen. Right. And I did like that, that we got so much development as well with her and her like best friend, who's a guy. And he's like, I am not interested in her at all in that way. We are friends. And how everybody else is like, are you though? Yeah. He's like, I'm not, seriously, like, I'm not interested in her. Yeah, because again, that was another like great subversive thing where he up to this point came across as like her groupie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then like we get all of this development and we're like, oh, they are like legitimately like best friends. And he does not feel weird about going to her and being like, hey, you know, I think that you need to rethink the way that you're acting and things like that. Like he's willing to be like a good friend to her and talk to her about stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great
having him in there.
I love all of the characters. I love all of them.
Yeah.
All like even the side characters aren't just the tropey side characters. Like his friends, how often in shonen do we see the protagonist and then his friends who are constantly like, a girl, let me nosebleed and talk about your boobs and your butt right in front of you, and I'll do absolutely anything for you. And instead his friends are like, mommy, he needs to fucking study, okay? He's gonna flunk out. And so even them, they're drawing the like goofy style that you're expecting from those like specific, like Minata, like just full on, even mushroom head. And instead it's like, oh no, that's not who they are at all. And something else I like is characters admit their mistakes in this manga. And like, so they admit mistakes and take the responsibility of the fact that they did that or things like that. And so that's a very nice, it goes back to the communication thing with the manga. Like there's so much communication. It's so nice.
Yeah. Can I also, building off of that, two other things that I love about that like group of friends. Number one, they didn't vanish, right? He didn't like suddenly start hanging out with Kuze and Toma, and like those guys just stopped being like his friend group at all. Like he still hangs out with them all the time. And number two, I loved that that when Mommy, I can't remember if we've mentioned this so far, so I'm just gonna say it again. When Mommy was like, what is this game that you guys are playing? Like she legitimately got really into it, and they were like, oh yeah, we'll send you like the components you need to make better gear and like all of this stuff. And it didn't come across like, I'll do anything for you, queen. It was just like, oh, you're interested in the game, sick, yeah, here, take some stuff, you're a new player, right? Like totally normal, like, oh, somebody's interested in a game that I play, sort of stuff. So yeah, I loved all of that as well. I was like, oh, these boys.
Yeah.
Let's talk about art. I have a big thing that I absolutely love that I want to say before I forget it. I loved the art. I love the art so much. And one thing that really stuck out is Taichi is so dorky looking, like specifically goofy. And then they bring up that when you love somebody, you see them differently. And so we see through both Kuze and Toma's eyes, Taichi drawn so handsome and like beautiful. And it's very like so different from who he is what he normally looks like. And you're like, shit, it's so effective in showing that they genuinely are in love with him and that they see him differently than everyone else sees him, because those emotions, they're attracted to him and those emotions make him feel differently. And so yeah, that was something that stood out that I was like, I'd never seen in a manga before, and I just absolutely loved that. And then it goes right back to dorky Taichi and the next panel.
Yeah, the art is really solid. It's super clean. It's not consistently gorgeous, I would say, but I also don't think that it's trying to be, and I don't think that would suit like the setting. It also would make it a lot harder to have faces like Lou's beautiful picture that we see.
Yeah.
Which show up all the time and are so good. Those just like sort of faces on all of the characters are so well done. Like they always show up at the right time. So the wide variety of how the faces are drawn, and yet everything else like remains so solidly consistent. Like we don't have proportion problems or anything like that. Yeah, it's not like super unique, but it's really solid. I like it.
I really love the art because it fits the whole theme of like this being a realistic setting, in like the way that like the memorable scenes, so like the fireworks scenes, the author went full out for those and didn't keep it like simple. So that's like a scene where it was like super, like I remember it so vividly. And then for like the everyday like school scenes and stuff, kept it much more simple, because it's like their way of being like, hey, this is their everyday life. When you do something like repetitively, it doesn't remain memorable, because it's a setting that you're like, you constantly remember, and you don't appreciate it maybe until like further down the line, when it's like, hey, remember like this little memory from school like bajillion years ago, sort of thing. And so I really liked it for that.
Something else I liked about it was the author or the mangaka is really good at paneling and deciding how, because we had this issue with Samurai 8 that we talked about last week, where panels, there's so much detail was going on. They were all like pretty much the same, so they weren't very effective. The mangaka is so good at figuring out placement on the pages and in the chapter to decide how effective the story is. And I think they do that really, really well. And they're so good at showing the emotion of the characters without using dialogue. And so, which is a very impressive thing to be able to do. And even like in the goofy faces, like there's times where Taichi, I loved a lot that half the time Taichi's face, it was just like here up when he's standing next to the taller people. And so I love that even with him, when he's goofy-eyed, they're able to show his shift into like annoyance or confusion. And the blushing, like all the blushing was so good too. Every single time, or when a character gets startled and just like flies off the screen.
Yeah.
So I just thought that all of that was done really well. I really like that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think like that's one of the like strong points of this artist is that they're really good at portraying like body language. I think you really notice that with Seiya, because he's this type of character who's like, they're really smug, but they're also super like laid back, and I feel like a lot of artists have a really hard time like portraying that, and so they'll either come off as like only as a lazy bum, or only as this super smug character. But like, just when you see the body language, you can tell that like Seiya is like this lazy, like laid back, like smug dude who just really does want like happiness for his family, and it's just
that was another thing. I was expecting so much more drama with him too, like serious, like ooh, and he ends up just being like this weird mafia like dick. Where he's just like, cool. Do you guys have anything else you would like to bring up? And we'll do final thoughts and ratings otherwise.
I don't think so.
No, I think we covered it.
Cool. Lou, curious why he hasn't spoken in a while. He actually had to take off. Yeah, he had to take off. So to give his final thoughts and ratings, he said he loves this manga. The art and story were all excellent, and he can't wait to read more. And his rating is 9 out of 10. So,
I was also going to give it a 9 out of 10. I really loved it. I loved the ways in which I was expecting to be annoyed with this manga were like non-existent pretty much. Yeah, I adore the characters. I think the way that the story is progressing, and also just the sort of topics that they're touching on, I don't think I've seen touched on in a manga before. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. Loved it.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely a solid 9 out of 10. I was really surprised to read that it was a Shonen Jump series. Just again, it covers a lot of aspects that you don't typically see in shonen talked about. So I really loved it. I love all the characters and getting to see them like grow and like figure out life.
I am 9 out of 10 too. Characters, story, the way it handles emotions and brings up just being a youth and falling in love and giving you things to think about. It sticks with you after you're done reading it. It's just all, man, it's exactly what you want in a new manga that like is refreshing and gives you the feels and loves the characters and gives you the humor. And it makes me want to go and read everything by this mangaka, which they have a sports manga that I'm going to go and read when the kids are napping. That's my plan. So solid 9 out of 10 for me too. So cool.
Yay!
That wraps up our discussion of Out No Flag / Blue Flag. We all obviously recommending you guys go and check it out, even if you're like, oh, I don't like romance. Go and read it. Like, just you will not be disappointed in reading this. So, yeah, I am gonna go ahead and read the description for the manga that we are reading next week, and everybody in chat gets to guess what it is. Okay.
Yay!
Yay!
High school senior year, spring, one of life's important forks in the road. Blank finds himself in the same class as Blank, who he feels strangely averse to, and his popular childhood friend Blank. One day, Blank confides in him her love for Blank and asks him to help. How will Blank respond? This new pure love story begins as the three are colored by the emotions of youth. What is it?
Any guesses?
Any guesses?
Any guesses?
Any guesses? People are like, wait, what?
Wait a minute. Didn't I already hear this? We're finishing up Blue Flag.
We're finishing Blue Flag. Yeah. We all were really excited to do that, just so everybody knows. We were so excited.
We thought this would be a really good goof, and I think you'll all agree.
Yes, it was good. So we are reading up to chapter 54, so we'll be finishing out the series, which is another testament to how much we love it and want to finish it. So, yeah.
Yep.
Cool. If you guys will go around and shout out stuff real quick, if you guys would like to check out more MangaPod, we have a website, mangapod.card-co. Card has 2 R's. And we also have a Reddit, which is reddit.com/r/mangapod. We also are available on Spotify and iTunes / all other audio streaming sites. If you're curious about that, you can watch previous episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/happilyerin, which is my YouTube channel, but I don't really do anything on there. I'm working on a book, which I'm really excited and making big progress on. I'm super excited about. Yeah. And then I'm much more active on Instagram and Twitter, so come over and chat with me if you would like to.
Hi everybody, I'm Dodger. You can find me at Dex Bonus on pretty much everything. I stream almost every day. And my social media is talking about my kid or showing pictures of my garden and, you know, boring mom stuff. So if that sounds like your vibe.
They're so pretty, all of it.
Come hang out. Oh, thanks. Oh, thanks. So yeah, that's me.
Is it my turn?
It is. Because Lou vanished.
Hello. That's true. Hello, I'm Moeka. I do streaming. I do streaming. You can follow me pretty much on like every website at MegaMoeka for the username. Thank you, Avi, linking. I'm on Twitter. I talk about my husbandos or whatever anime or manga I'm reading, cosplay stuff, all that good stuff. If you like any of that, you can check me out on Twitch as well. Yeah, appreciate it.
Cool. And Lou, like we said, he had to take off, but you can check him out on Twitter at Lou Talks Anime. Go say hi to all of us. We also have a MangaPod Twitter, just so you know.
That's true.
Like to find that. It is MangaPod.
And an Instagram.
And we do have an Instagram. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Cool. Thank you all so much for coming in.
Aaron. Wrapped up like a bat. Thanks, everybody, for watching MangaPod.
She erased them. Kaylee drew a bunch of bat wings on my marker board earlier.
Aww.
And she was like, they're just the wings, but they're great. Oh, they were great.
I love it. I love it.
Cool. Thank you all so much for watching MangaPod. We will be here next week. Same time, same place, reading the rest of Owl No Flag, chapters 34 through 54. We hope you'll join us for that, and we'll see you later. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Hi, bye. That's pretty. I liked your little. Yeah.